Hello, everyone. This is Marita, one who catches lightning, with the Path of Ish podcast, Walking with Our Shadow, where we share ancient Indigenous teachings of remembrance, all so we can walk and learn how to walk a path of radical self-love. It is with deep gratitude, with grace and thanksgiving that we come together again with another opportunity to join everyone in the circle for a topic that has come to the circle before, but has now a new influence, you might say, as more information is shared. So as we bring this topic to the circle again, with a new opportunity, with new information, let us ask Circle to hold all of this, because it's a lot. So we're going to ask the east, the south, the west, and the north, those above, those on this plane, and those below. All those who have walked with us, all those who have walked before us, who have walked this path around the circle time and time again. As they are met with opportunities to be in deep relationship with themselves, their community, the environment, which is part of their community, and all. Today I want to talk about a recent post that I put up on Facebook on Instagram. Facebook, it didn't like it as much, but Instagram did. And it's a quote by Kurt Vonnegut. And I kind of want to peel back the layers of what I posted about and what I was trying to really share. And the Kurt Vonnegut quote goes, "We'll go down in history as the first society that wouldn't save itself because it wasn't cost effective." My post went into having a conversation where I have been recently working with a fellow ethnographer to try to find ways to really approach and change the language that we are using based on sustainability. And you can go and listen to all my other previous podcasts as we break down why this word doesn't really work, and also why a lot of the practices that people are discovering that are new are actually ancient Indigenous practices that have been around for a very, very long time. So we were looking at the study and they sent me this PowerPoint, and I still don't even know what to do with it. Like, I get it, but anyways, and the study was about asking people about behaviors, in particular, their buying behaviors, what they are ready to do. And the reason that we want to talk buying behaviors is that we know that we live in a consumer-driven economy. I mean, literally the promise of the United States is you can buy your happiness, right? To buy, to consume. Now, this study went about, this PowerPoint showed how around 85% of people in the United States are aware of climate change, of the climate crisis, of sustainability as a word, as practice. Maybe not really understanding it completely, but there is an awareness, right? And 85% of them want to do something about it. And it then broke down that 85%. And only 8% are willing to make drastic changes from this 85. So let's talk about what these drastic changes were, right? Only 8% were willing to make drastic changes. And you could be like, okay, well, I get it, Marita. I mean, drastic. I mean, that's life changing, right? You're going to ask me to leave my job, to join a commune, to grow my own food, be off the grid, and live in the middle of nowhere, right? Drastic. But these drastic changes weren't really that drastic. They were considering a change of diet, right? And that change of diet was going towards vegetarianism or veganism in a sense of more kind of being aware of environment and not supporting industrial commercial meat, right? So, in other words, buying the Beyond Burger versus the regular burger. That's the drastic change. That's one. Secondly, is instead of when something breaks, throwing it away immediately, trying to fix it. I still darn my socks, so maybe I'm not the right person to have a conversation about this. And darning is an art, by the way. So instead of just throwing something away, right? If you think it breaks or you get frustrated, you actually try to fix it, to keep it longer, right? And about the third one went into just buying things from companies that have quote unquote greener or better practices. Okay, so where are we here in the pendulum swing? We're not in living in isolation off the grid, growing your own food, where, hey, maybe we might try consuming in a different way and looking at our diet, right? It doesn't break it down to really look into, and I'm not touting vegetarianism or veganism at all. I'm saying, really, can you look at your food source? Are you growing stuff? Do you know your local markets? That would be a much more interesting question, I think, but they didn't ask this question. They asked much more basic questions. And in this basic questionnaire, the drastic changes are not very big, I think. I don't think so. But why are only 8% of the 85 willing to make change, drastic change? Most of them are kind of in the middle, right? And that would be kind of like, instead of fixing something 2 times or 3 times, maybe just fixing it once before throwing it away. I'm not sure. But this really, peeling back the layers, really gets to a different heart. And that's what I want to talk about. It's the topic today is dying, called dying to change. We are dying physically, emotionally. We want change. We want to heal, yet sometimes we don't have the strength for it, nor do we really want it. Because what does it mean? Change means that your life will be different. It means you will not know even the devil that you know. And I also want to, take a moment to look at the larger program here. We talked about the program of consumption, the promise of consumption. We've talked about this before. And the reason we've been having this conversation over and around in the circle is that this is a huge difference. When people come to try to sit and listen to Indigenous wisdom, yet they do not talk about the program that they're coming from, nor do their decolonization work, you will not understand the cultural exchange that is happening. And so we are trying to paint for you the bridge that has to be walked over, the things that must be talked about and observed, faced as part of not just personal, but collective healing. And so when you ask yourself, why isn't this working? Why can't I change? What is happening? There is a greater program that you might have bought into. But as we know, everything that is programmed can be reprogrammed. And the ancient technologies that many people are seeking to get to them, there must be more than 8% change. There must be a time of truth. One of the greatest things that keeps us from change is if you are stuck in Western colonization, you are always trying to, ¿cómo se dice? Fulfill the program of being enough, yet it is programmed that you can never be enough. So you're literally in a mouse maze that you could never get out of. You will never beat the program. Yet because you get stuck in it and all your energy is going to it to create value for yourself, it's really hard to break that pattern. And one of the things that I tell my students, and as we started recently our ceremonial training, was as you enter into this way of beingness, one of the huge differences between Western culture and Indigenous culture is, again, Western culture, you try to win your value, versus an Indigenous culture. And it's not across the board. And from the circles that I come from the philosophies of conversations and technologies that I come from multiple peoples, born and trained, there is a philosophy that is very different. And that philosophy is that you are a part of nature. Because you are a natural part of the creation of the earth, you inherently have value. You have been created, you breathe, you are alive, you have value. You can then continue to grow, individuate, learn about your talents and your gifts, and give back to your community. And grow like a seed into even a tree of value, but still the seed has value. So there's never a wanting. And the program allows you to actually grow to your full potential versus saying you will never be enough. When you have a program that says you can grow and be your potential, the technologies that you use in that program will be different and you will get different results because your relationship will be different. First, with yourself, with your creatureness, which means you are also accountable more so for your actions because you know that your actions are valuable. They are an extension of your value that is fulfilled every day that you live, breathe, think, exist, and do. So you watch your thoughts. You understand the impact of your words. because you know they have the potential, just like everything on this planet, to grow and change and evolve. Yet for a very, very long time, the separation from humans, from nature, has been an act of war. And the killing of anyone who knew the nature and the technologies of nature and the language of nature, whether they were the witches burned or drowned, or the medicine people or the shamans, or whole people killed because of their deep connection to the natural world. All of this done to eradicate value, to eradicate true freedom, the freedom to create. And instead, you program a false identity of freedom where you can buy it. You can buy what you want and what you like. And so this false identity where you get stuck in this indoctrination, this fanatical consumption, at one point, given, ¿cómo se dice? The go-ahead and the benediction of the church to go and colonize, which I believe the Pope recently examined that call of colonization and said it was wrong. But then you know that religion is part of that. That the one way and the one truth and colonization through fanatical religion is the destruction of nature and the indoctrination of a false sense of freedom. The reason people don't want to change is they don't want to choose less, have less choices. Because they think you're taking away their freedom. And when we're asking people to return to a way of beingness with nature, we're asking them to go against the program that ensured to them and for them safety. That they were safe from the destruction and annihilation, because the minute they knew you had a connection with nature, they would silence you. And then you allow the elite and the ruling class to determine value and what is good and what is bad. And we continue in a very binary code of good and bad and white and black, male and female, and the list goes on. A binary program, which we call America. That calls for the consumption and the consumption for yourself and the consumption of everything and the destruction of everything, is something that only 8% right now in the United States are willing to make drastic changes to get out of the program. And again, we're not talking about growing your own food, living off, off grid or anything. We're just saying making small changes. And small changes go a long way, and you can take small steps. You don't have to change everything at the same time, but you have to start understanding that your idea of choice, or what you think is choice and freedom, is a program that wants to survive at the cost of the destruction of humanity. This program, this virus, let's call it, computer virus, program virus, is only a few hundred years old. It replicates itself, it lives off its host, destroys everything, and tries to keep on surviving. Because in nature, everything can grow, evolve, and change, including energies. I wonder what it would be like if we could face this with compassion. Just face this as a time of a road that was taken, and we can change the direction. And it's not about judgment. It's hard to get out of the matrix. It's hard to change. We know that. But yet many people try to continue to exist in both worlds, and I just see them having a very challenging time. This is not a call to leave your jobs and, again, go and, be a survivalist in the middle of nowhere. It is a call to look at, with open eyes and an open heart, that which you have consumed. And how can you, in small ways, examine with curiosity how you as a being, as a creature, exists on this planet, learning the lesson which is your life. And see your power of your choice or non-choice, your action or your non-action, or the creation of whatever reality you have created for yourself to feel safe and secure. Can we maybe take a chance? Can we maybe acknowledge the fear that we have to change? Can we start working with these parts of ourselves that are afraid, that do not know anything beyond the binary, that are afraid of people who look different and talk different and present themselves differently in their gender and in their way of being? Nature is so diverse, and it needs to be diverse because everything relates to each other. A monoculture of humanity does not mean a thriving opportunity for diversity and for the question to be asked in different ways. But if you have then indoctrinated a group to ask no questions and to only have the solution, that is not evolutionary. That is the universe stuck. And it is not about humanity creating other forms of intelligence before they can even deal with their own. We have a beautiful opportunity before us. We are in that moment of remembering. We are in that moment where we can choose to start believing that we inherently are part of a beautiful love story called the universe that is diverse in its beingness and how it manifests itself in different forms through all the different kingdoms. How each one is asking that question in its own way. How each of them is uniquely learning how to be in a group and have individuality, and how they're individuating and how they're growing in a collective. How they are changing and adjusting and evolving with the environment that humans have forced upon Mother Earth. There is so much beauty on this planet. And we just have to admit that we are afraid to see it. We want the beauty, but because it's so wild and different and not contained in four walls or on an AI screen or on a computer, it is wild, raw, overwhelming, powerful, awesome. It will bring you to your knees. It will have the most beautiful songs ever heard. The songs of the birds and the fish and the whales, of the four-legged, of the insects, of the plants. Yes, plants make noise. There is so much that nature offers us. Endless adventure and beauty. Endless discovery, not to capture it, but to allow it to move through you like a wave in the ocean, or a sound wave, or the wind, whether it be a breeze or a gale force. It is here. It is real. And we can choose to participate or we can choose to not change, to not seek anything that is different from what you know, to not look for anything that you can't manage or you can't answer, to not be surrounded by people who don't look like you or speak like you, who are yes people, who verify your point of view over and over again. And that is one way. But it is not the only way. And there are many ways in between that you get to have real choice. Real choice. If you have the courage. What a beautiful opportunity that change can be and give you the unknown, the unexplained, and the undiscovered country. And so today we will do a small meditation to acknowledge the undiscovered country inside of us, the undiscovered realm that maybe we don't have a relationship with, or I think we already know everything, but yet everything is supposed to change and evolve. So we will do our 3 breaths practice in Ik. And I'm super excited. We're going to start teaching and finally launching this breath practice that we've been remembering, and getting the permission to share with you in the next couple of months. And it goes beyond the 3 breaths, but also tells you what the 3 breaths are about and goes into more somatic practices of breathing and a style of breathing that really holds the imagery of Ik and holds the imagery of relationship. If you're curious, just send us a note and we'll tell you more about what's going on behind the scenes as we prepare to launch this in May. And so, as we remember the old ways of being, the time of all connected, the time of the great weaving, time of the great creation. We acknowledge that as we acknowledge this time, we acknowledge the time before. That beautiful void. And so, as we choose today to change, to make a small change, small changes, let us first take our breath in and out through the nose, calming down that vagus nerve, and let us call in and invite the intelligence and the beauty of your mind into this time, into this place. This beautiful computer that creates and examines and dreams and keeps your body going without you having to think about it. How amazing, how brilliant and beautiful it is. Second breath in and out through the nose. Acknowledging and welcoming our body and the nature and the intelligence of our body to heal itself, to communicate with all of its parts. We acknowledge the nature inside of us, the minerals that we are composed of, as all of the elements of this earth, water and minerals, fire and heat, air, all of the elements. We connect with the rivers inside of our bodies, our veins, our capillaries, our vessels. In their wildness, and their form, and their function, and their beauty. In and out through the nose. Bringing our essence, the spark of hope, of connection, of divine, of beyond, that encourages us to seek, to change, to evolve, to ask the question, to face our fears, this intelligence. And as you allow them to come in, and as you invite them back, take a moment to ask each one of them to reflect back to you, how have you changed? What behavior, what word, what habit have you been able to acknowledge, have had compassion for, have gotten done and tired of it, and have decided in small or large ways to change, and see how change is just a natural part of our intelligence. ويتشتي يختي وقتي توتنا وها ويتشتي ويتشتي توتنا وها. As we allow the melody and the song of the ancients, a song heard on riverbeds between pebbles and streams cascading down, as leaves and crickets and beavers interact, evolve, and create a cacophony of beauty. For they are sovereign. And as we start slowly coming back, settling back, give gratitude and thanks to your essence with a breath. In and out through the nose. Gratitude and thanks to your body with a breath. In and out through your nose. Gratitude and thanks to your mind. In and out through your nose. As I send a little prayer for that little butterfly that's trying to find the safe landing spaces the storm just picked up, I hope that it is well. We might have to go help it. Okay, little one. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Be safe. And with that, we thank all who have been here and the opportunity to have a conversation and a cultural exchange. And a welcome to examine these cultures and their differences as we thank those who have walked before us in the east, the south, the west, and the north, those who watch above and below and on this plane, to all my teachers who continue to teach me on this plane and beyond. Shade. I hope that this week brings you an opportunity to make a small change or to acknowledge the small changes that you are making and rejoice. We also like to thank all of you who have been signing up for the Patreon. Thank you so much to keep this podcast going. Even small donations are appreciated as much as the large ones. Thank you so much for being a part of this circle. Shade. Once again, it is with deepest gratitude that I bow to you for joining me on this podcast, this episode, this circle, this plática, this meditation, this remembering. I hope that you have stayed curious. I hope to see you in the circle again next week. So make sure that you like or follow. Until then, may you be blessed with abundance of peace and radical self-love.